fellow Young Cavs. I'm Zach Hendricks, back from the dead. Just kidding. I've never been dead.
Whoa.
I'm not a zombie.
It's messed up.
Right?
That's messed up.
So, today is the first episode of the Pop Culture Cave podcast, which is our Friday podcast. And yes, today is Saturday.
Yeah.
But crazy technical difficulties. We're currently recording off of the one mic you see on Tyler and Martin's screen because my Sennheiser, having my Sennheiser run at the same time, was picking up just some crazy feedback, and I'm not quite sure how to get around that yet.
A lot of cross-dimensional cheddar.
Yeah, all that cheddar cheese and chatter.
We were trying to break into new dimensions.
Yes.
And,
we failed.
Those dimension pirates were like, "Arr,
and
not today."
Speaking of new dimensions and the mic in front of those two, there's those two who are Tyler and Martin.
How you doing?
Tyler is, I don't know where I'm pointing because I'm not used to these cameras yet.
I'm Martin.
But Tyler's got the glasses. Martin's the one that said I'm Martin.
Yep, that's me.
Yep.
And from now on the Young Cavs channel, this is not a solo operation any longer. This is a team effort. We are a team of creatives. And I'll let you guys say a little bit about yourselves before I continue on with what's going down.
For sure.
Well, I'm Martin De La Garza. I'm an independent filmmaker, and I specialize in shorts, music videos, but I kind of branch out and do a multitude of different things. So I'm going to be kind of introducing little skits and shorts and little premieres on this channel, if you will. And Tyler, what are you doing?
Yeah, what do you do?
Well, I'm here to crack jokes about interdimensional podcast travel and all sorts of fun jazz on Burn My Arm.
Yeah,
just kidding.
Fire
Just
hazard.
kidding.
How did you do that, though? Seriously, how did you do
That's
that?
a story for another podcast.
He thought that was a plushie on the couch, but it's actually a real fire.
Exactly. I burnt myself on the plush fire over there. No.
Damn.
What? So I'm also an independent filmmaker. I'm also currently a film student in Chicago, and I've had experience directing, editing, and working on sets, multiple sets, mainly in Chicago. Haven't really worked on any films outside of Illinois. Oh, I take that back. I did a music video in New York in 2014. Nice. Other than that, I've primarily just stayed in the city of Chicago and the surrounding area. And yeah, I do most of the graphic stuff here for the Young Cavs channel, and I have a YouTube series on this channel called This Week in Film School, where I talk to you about the stuff that I learned in film school that week. Martin and I will also be doing a bunch of how-to videos for filmmaking. So if you're interested in creating your own stuff and kind of making your own type of creative work, that's what we're here to help you achieve. So.
And I know Tyler said that he hasn't done much stuff out of Chicago other than that one shoot.
Outside of.
Yes.
Out of Chicago means.
Okay. Well.
With insides.
I do want to point out...
I have worked with the interdimensional pirates.
They're not things that you film directly, but Tyler's current job,
that's right.
He is a full-time editor for a TV station in LA.
Yes, so that's my job.
That's kind of
that's my job.
We got a real industry professional over here.
I more meant on set work, I guess.
Yes.
To clarify, but yes, I do work for people.
Do
burn. I burn. And I do.
He burns easy.
I burn easy, and I do work. In the other
But he does
realms.
not do work. His work is always fire, which is why he gets these burns on his arm. So
that's a great way to spin that, for
right?
sure. Yeah,
Exactly. Got to just spin it around.
I'm just too hot for the.
I'm immune to flame, so I don't get burned.
Yeah, his arms take care of that.
So,
sorry.
How the channel's gonna work? We're gonna have weekly shows. We're going to do an update video, so you're going to find more out about that. More out about. That's difficult. But you're going to find more out about that in the near future. But quick rundown. We're going to have weekly shows Monday through Friday.
Yep.
And the Wednesday show is where I review really cheap knockoff products from Wish. That one is probably going to be a month before we see the first episode of that. But other than that, we're going to see these other shows Monday through Friday. And then Saturday, we have monthly content. So Saturday, it'll be the first Saturday of the month is one thing. The second Saturday is another, the music video reviews. I don't have the order memorized yet. We're still finalizing the details. But, yeah, this channel is taking a huge turn. See, I wanted to turn quicker, but then I was really scared about like slamming my knee on the corner. But so that might have been a little weird.
Knee would have ripped off.
We're taking a huge turn, but I'm not completely pivoting away from video games. Video games are still going to be one of my biggest focuses.
Yep.
And every Monday, I'm going to be releasing a series. I don't have a name yet. I'm just calling it Gamer Talk. If you saw my E3 speculation video, that's kind of what it's going to be. I'm just going to be talking about game stuff, but then I do monthly video essays, and you best believe they're not all going to be about movies, because there are way too many intricacies in games that people haven't figured out, that, or not even figured out, but like seen elaborately, yes, seen elaborately put together. And I was like, so ironic that was the word that I didn't say elaborately. Anyways, but
I see what you did there.
Jeez,
such a funny joke.
But yeah, so the game content is still coming, but the big pivot is, instead of focusing solely on games, we're focusing on storytelling and storytelling mediums. Games, movies, TV shows, books,
novels.
So books only because
Books
half
came out
the
of
movies
nowhere.
are based on. I only said that because half the movies are based on books.
Comic books.
And it sounded nice to just like slide something else in there.
Probably more than half the books or movies are based on books.
Yeah.
It's probably
So
like 98%.
We are taking that turn to creative storytelling, and I'm super excited to be doing it with these guys. I'm super excited to be sharing it with you guys, because there's a lot that goes into creative storytelling, and you're going to see a lot of tutorials and a lot of explainers and just a lot of like, here's the basics. So, and not just the basics, but here's some more complicated stuff.
We'll definitely, and we'll be bringing on guests too.
Lots of guests.
Definitely some guests in the creative world from all aspects, from gaming to digital art to film, like sound design, game design, like a bunch of.
So,
I'm sorry. Yep. I like burped in the middle of that. I'm sorry.
I didn't even hear that.
I didn't hear that either. That's awesome.
No, I
Keep it up.
just went like, yep, and I don't know why. That's why I was laughing. But we have, as you can see, we have big plans, and we don't want to be YouTubers. Like, that's a cool thing. I'm not knocking YouTubers, you know.
Right.
I mean, I'll knock like some YouTubers who do bad things, but that's not us. But we don't just want to be YouTubers. We are a production studio. The Young Cavs is a production studio. We are a team. You know, we're making local commercials for people. We're doing, you know, radio spots, because I'm full-time voiceover, you know, all that stuff.
Merchandising too.
Yes. We are a production studio, and this is the avenue we chose to go down, because our passions are like things that are actually popular, so we're not gonna act like people don't care to hear it, you know. And if you don't care, then the next video. But I think there's a lot of people that are gonna like our unique takes, because we all see things a little differently.
Exactly.
But if we want to keep building, we sorry, you can.
No, it's fine.
So I was like, I had something to add.
Keep
No,
going.
be quiet.
Keep going.
That was all good.
No, what I was going to say, short and sweet, is I think YouTube is such an interesting platform. You know, this whole fact that everybody can create video content. I think and I've had discussions with people at school before about this, but I think everybody should be doing this, because I think it allows you, one, to like network and hang out with friends. Like, I think it's the biggest reason why
they're just as passionate about it.
I'm really
as you
excited
are.
about it, is because it gives us all a reason to like be here at a certain time at a certain day, and we can all just kind of like talk about what we love.
Yeah.
I think that's the coolest thing about it. And also too, that thing that I've noticed from watching other podcasts is people might be like, oh, well, you're just like this or you're just like that. But I think what's so cool is each podcast has, you know, there might be some kid or some person that doesn't fit in or doesn't know, doesn't have many friends or something, but they can hang out with us every week, and maybe they gravitate towards one of our stories and or get really inspired by one of us or all three of us or something. And so we create a environment for them to belong to, which I think is really cool. And if I can provide that for people out in the world, I'm totally down to do that. If all of it's going to take is for us to just be committed and to basically just talk about our passions and actively want to reach out and create a community where people can
absolutely
belong.
Yeah.
Why not do that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, look how different us three are.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's like, film's what brought us all together, and it's just a really cool thing. And we want to keep building on this, and we're going to get to the podcast part of the podcast right after this brief message. But we do want to keep building. We want to make those moments that you were talking about. So that's why we're talking more to you right now, audience. Hi, audience. Right into the camera. But that's why... That wasn't creepy at all.
No, it's always very strange when you look into the camera because you're like right in my eye line. So it's always a strange experience.
Definitely scary.
Yeah, that's why we talk. That's why we're talking more to you today, audience, instead of just each other like a normal podcast. We'll still interact with you in a normal podcast, but it's going to be a lot more directed to one another. Mm-hmm. That's because we just want to give you the rundown on what's going on, the changes that are happening, and say that we really hope you're all aboard for this, and we hope that your friends are all aboard for this, and anyone else that finds out about this. And, we're still in the early phase, but I know we're going to get to where you want to be,
Of course.
Because this isn't just a YouTube thing, this is the business that we run.
Mm-hmm.
But on top of that, it does take, finances to get to this point. So right now we're filming on an iPhone and an Android, and in order to connect that to the podcast and run that through OBS, had to download a $16 app for the iPhone, and then had to download a $5 app for the Android. Mm-hmm. That's $21 right there. Last month on our Patreon, we made $21 and 86 cents. So right now we got an 86-cent profit line that we can invest into other things.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't be possible without our patrons.
Right.
So that's just one example. This first podcast is happening right now because people decided to sign up on Patreon and give.
Yeah.
And our Patreon, I think, is super unique because we have tiers. There's more tiers coming, but right now we have the content creator branch of tiers, which is geared towards content creators, and basically will make you logos or animated logos or logos that are animated and have animated backgrounds, or will edit stuff for you, edit a 1-minute video for you. There's all sorts of stuff that is super beneficial. And I feel like most of the time creators usually either just give t-shirts, Skype calls, or nothing. And we're gonna be giving t-shirts and we're gonna be giving Skype calls. But I just think it's cool that we have the options for you. We're breaking it down to these different branches. So if you're just about the merch and you're a fan and you're like, dude, I love what these guys do, you can rep it. Mm-hmm. But if you're like, I'm watching your stuff because I'm a content creator and I want to know how to make my own content. I want to know how you guys all look like there's light on you, and how you're doing this 2-camera thing right now, and you have a moving background and all these words flying around
there's
tutorials.
Yes, there's literally a tier for everyone.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And that should be on there. I don't know why that's not, but yeah, there's a tier for everyone. We want to make sure our audience gets what they want.
And you can set your donation amount, so you're not exactly locked into the set amounts that we have. But if you would like a perk, or if you see something that's interesting, also suggest stuff to us. If you see something and you're like, oh, I would really love this specific thing that I don't have or I don't have access to, we can make that stuff for you.
Yeah. And the last thing on our Patreon is I just want to tell you a little more about how it works. Our Patreon isn't it's not per video. That'd be crazy since we're doing 6 videos a week at the minimum. But it's per month, but not just is it per month, it is on the first of the month. So if you signed up right now, you're not going to get charged until July 1st. Mm-hmm. So just something to keep in mind so you know how our Patreon works.
Yes.
But yeah, that's enough. Oh, wait. So I forgot to do this because, we're growing. This is the first podcast. We got to learn. I think this looks pretty beautiful for a first podcast, if I do say so myself. But I wanted to put this up when I was talking about Patreon. So just admire that lower third.
There's our link.
And there is the link.
Our link's been up on the screen the whole time, I think. But
very nice, yeah.
It has? Well,
Yeah, isn't that in that lower third down there?
Oh yeah, it is in the
It's
lower
literally
third.
you literally put the URL right.
I forgot I put it in 2 different lower thirds.
Yeah,
You're
but
right.
it's been there the whole
Well, yeah.
time.
So there's our little moving Patreon. Anyways, back to the old one. As you see, our Patreon is in the red section of that one still. So if you didn't see what it was, there it was. But yeah, and then to do that, I forgot to do that. I don't have the keyboard shortcut map to this guy yet, so I can't just be like, boom, Patreon's on the screen. But yeah, that's it for
Next time.
like the little update about what's going on. But Martin, you want to tell us what's on the agenda today?
Well, today we're going to talk a little bit about Batman.
Batman.
Now, which Batman you may be thinking about? Well, we're talking about Batman the 30th anniversary that came out in 4K. That's the movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Well, that movie is one of my favorite childhood movies of all time. Just a great movie.
It's right here.
It's one of my favorite Tim Burton movies. Now, as you can see, though, this cover, though, not a huge fan. Not a huge fan.
Martin's not a fan of this cover.
No.
I've been hearing it all weekend.
Yep.
This looks like it was honestly made by someone that did not watch the movie.
And it's so strange because they took the DVD cover of the movie. But if you look at the DVD cover of the movie, Nicholson is closer. The Joker is closer to Batman. Like, there's less of a gap, but it's the exact same picture, and it's in color instead of blue. So they took the DVD version, which I don't even know why that had a different cover than the Bat logo, and then they moved it just slightly and added the buildings and made them different shades.
And
of
this
blue.
building, this is very generic, too. This does not look like you're in Gotham City.
No.
Yeah.
Well, the thing too is,
There's not even the Batman like spotlight.
you gotta look at it from you gotta look at these things from a studio perspective. Like, one, they're not gonna hire somebody. Everything costs money, right? And you're not gonna hire somebody. It'd be really cool if they got the money, but if they hired somebody to create some original artwork and put it on the case, right? But they're not gonna do that. They've had these stock images. Same thing with the back.
Someone should do that for
They
James
own
Bond.
they own these images. They've owned these images for almost 30 years. So yeah, they're just gonna pull them up and throw them to
Even the back
throw
too.
them to a graphic designer.
These are the same screen grabs we've had on pretty much every release of Batman, and it's a shame too that this movie's got more screen grabs than this. Come on now, like there's really,
But I'm not an expert on like the marketing department and how all those contracts work. Maybe only in the deal with Warner Brothers and their marketing team, it's legit. You can only use these screenshots in every piece of disc material or that they make. I mean, that could be in a contract. That could be in a contract somewhere because those images have existed for 30 years on the back of every case you own.
Yeah, and it's like there's been so many Batman movies since it came out.
Yeah.
Not defending how it looks, of course, but like the idea of just changing the cover. There's been so many Batman movies having a case with the logo. The whole case is just the Bat logo and says Batman.
honestly,
Is this
I would.
Ninja Batman? Is this the Dark Knight? Is this Batman Begins? Most people aren't the nerds that we are.
I would have been happy with just the 1989 like theatrical poster of Batman with the really thick gold bold lettering of Batman, which we don't really see anymore.
Yeah, they got rid of that.
Yeah, that's kind of saddening.
But that's more obviously. I mean, we live in the year 2019, and I think this specifically, if you look on this part right here, like this side,
that part matches
this on the black. This matches a lot of what the Nolan films were.
Yeah,
so
they're trying to.
I think they
to
can
match.
They can see it.
Okay, there we go.
They can see it. But this definitely matches a lot of the aesthetic of Nolan's verse. So I think maybe they were like, oh, if you have them all together,
It'll look complete for.
they're trying to make it all complete with a black and a white thing with some nice bold text. They're trying to make it all look cohesive, I think.
Yeah.
Whereas this, what I almost called you Zach. Sorry. What Martin has is a lot more unique.
Yeah, this one, which came out March 10th, 2009, which I bought immediately because I'm a huge Batman fan. To be honest with you, I didn't really like the packaging at first for this one.
It's very odd.
With this weird utility belt where you just kind of pull it apart.
It's kind of
and
strange.
You can easily, lose this
It's
and
cool,
smash it,
but it's not conventional. It's very strange.
Well, and the thing is, too, it's not fully attached, too, so like pieces slide out and stuff. And then if you crush one and then you lose the other one, then you just got this.
What's the whole point of that then? Why is this detached from this?
I don't know. I don't know why they just
we're
connect
literally
them,
breaking
like,
it
permanently.
We're breaking it, and I'm sure there's people on the internet being like, "What are you doing?" But
shame. Well, look at these. See, look at these. Like these. I honestly think these are way better.
Yeah, I do too.
They're more
But I
colorful.
think
They're
from
like
from the marketing standpoint, they're like, well, people aren't going to realize what Batman it is. I think that's, even though pretty much everyone would realize.
even the
Batman
back
is.
screen grabs too. I mean, yeah, they're the same screen grabs, but like this one over here where it's
Attacked by Batman.
where it's got the Peter Travers quote here. It says, "A triumph. You can't take your eyes off it." Oh my god! Like even that, like that whole side with him looking at the bat, logo and stuff. The bat light. I think that's even better looking too.
And I do want to say also, so those screen grabs didn't technically even come from the 4K version, because the 4K version it's rescanned, which it was going to be playing behind us originally, but Nintendo's having their Splatoon competition and their their Smash Bros competition, and they just had the Mario Maker competition, which we watched right before this, and my boy Abdallah won.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. I'm going to be uploading a video hopefully this month. I'm waiting for Paste Cat to send me a video at the end for when the panel cut him off so he can fill in. But Abdallah was on a panel with me at the Midwest Gaming Classic, and he had mentioned that he
we were all there.
Didn't. He mentioned that he didn't.
It was snowing that day.
Win any
cold.
official Nintendo competitions. Like he's like, yeah, I'll leave an event with 50 different medals or something, but like he hadn't been like in an official one. So I'm really excited that he won the Mario Maker one. He deserves it. Anyways, just wanted to segue that because
congratulations to him. That's super cool.
Yeah, congratulations.
That was really cool. We got to see that live. So,
but back to Batman, which was going to be playing behind us before the Nintendo stuff was happening.
Yes.
We were watching the 4K earlier, and if you don't know how it worked, do you want to explain how it works, Tyler?
Yeah.
It's not just like, export in 4K, done.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of technical things that happen, but what they do is, so when they film the film, I can't remember what it was shot on, but it's shot on film, and film can capture a lot more information than our digital cameras can. Even though our digital cameras have come a long way, nothing compares to the original film print. And what happens when you make, like VHS, for example, they run that film print through a scan. So they basically duplicate that, but they would just duplicate that for VHS tape, which was a really, 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 really standard definition, low-res version of that high-quality film strip.
Yeah.
And so what these like 1080 and these 4K and soon 8K, who knows how long, I mean, I think
8K should be the maximum.
8K
that's what China and Japan decided in like 2001.
Exactly. So you have that, and each scan, basically they just rescan the negative print. So what they'll cut the film, and then they make duplicates of that print, and then they archive it. So it's all on the original film negative, and the 4K is just the most up-to-date, not enhanced because they don't really enhance anything. It's just the most latest detailed scan
print
of the film.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was a long-winded explanation
No, that was exactly a perfect explanation
of what that is, but it allows you to see more details in the highlights, which is like the brighter parts of the image, and more details in the shadow parts of the image. And do you want to mention the reviews that you saw for the...
Well, on Bluray.com, they gave it like a 5 out of 5. They said it was amazing.
It really is.
I looked at
phenomenal.
it. I watched like some of my favorite parts, and there was like details in there that I never even remember seeing because I couldn't see them. And we're talking about like Jack Nicholson's like pinstripes and stuff like that I could not see.
The light red pinstripes specifically, like I never noticed that.
The details on his tie and I forget her name. What's her name? His like, does she have a name?
Yeah, she's got a name.
She's got a name.
No
does
name
she
for
have
her.
a name? But his lady friend in the beginning.
Yeah, you could see the weird color intricacies
All
of that
the
dress.
blue-
That
I didn't realize
I
their
always
stuff
missed
was
every
blue.
time I had watched
I always
that.
thought it was black.
I thought it was purple. Yeah, so
yeah, if you're in the camp of there's no difference between 1080 and 4K,
there's a difference.
There's a
huge difference.
There's a huge difference, and definitely
They remixed.
definitely buy them. I want you to bring up the DC Universe thing so people don't get confused, like why you should buy the 4K version and not do the streaming service.
So at first I was frustrated because I didn't know the reason, and I'm still frustrated, just only this much instead of like really frustrated.
Jeez.
But so we have the DC Universe streaming service, and I'm like, wait, why don't we why did we buy this DVD or this Blu-ray
Mm-hmm.
when we could just go stream it in 4K?
Right.
And then I searched it on their website. Nothing. I mean, not nothing. They had it, but it didn't have. They didn't have it in 4K.
720p.
When I played Swamp Thing, it might have been because it didn't even say HD.
Yeah, that's bad.
And they had other stuff that said HD next to it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to play Swamp Thing, my TV notifies me when HDR stuff's processed. It says 4K next to Swamp Thing.
Yes, which stands for high dynamic range, which is the highest quality of 4K that you can watch.
Yes.
For people who don't know what HDR is.
And it said 4K next to Swamp Thing, so it already didn't say 4K next to Batman. Is this not 4K? Played Swamp Thing. My TV then pops up HDR in the top right corner for a second and fades away, which is just what it does to tell you, like, hey, you're about to see some nice visual content. And I'm like,
I wish it actually said that to you.
Yeah.
You're about to see some nice visual
Hey.
content.
you're about to see some nice visual content. Buckle up and enjoy the show. Anyways.
And then it
Yes.
spits popcorn at your face.
But
then
yeah,
you
so then
burn
I went to
yourself.
Batman and I played that, and again, didn't say HD next to it. HDR doesn't pop up on the screen, so I know for a fact this is not.
It actually
The
said on the
Blu-ray.
corner, you're watching a lower crappy version of this thing. I was like, whoa, what's going on?
And it actually just got bigger and bigger and flashed over the whole screen. It was very strange. But,
Gotcha!
so no clue why DC doesn't release the 4K version. I don't know if maybe someone's just slacking and they're like, oh yeah, we did re-release this.
The only thing I can think of, if you want...
Is to
Well,
keep
if they
people
wanna
buying
wait
this.
to-
No,
drive the
well,
sales?
yes.
You know, definitely.
What's up?
Is they want to wait to drive the sales
Yeah.
of the...
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if it's on the streaming service, why
like-
would you buy this?
yeah.
Now it's like, hey, you're gonna buy this.
Yeah.
And
how much was this?
$25.
It's a decent amount for a movie that came out in '89, so that's...
It's like 30 years old,
Yeah.
but still, I will pay $30 for a
And I would too.
physical copy of a 4K
But
scan.
that or someone buying a subscription and watching it there, you know?
Yeah, and what I will say too is the streaming service, it's super new. But as of right now, to me, it's a no-go because, I mean, we've seen clips from Doom Patrol, and that's all I need to say about that.
Yeah.
But on top of that, Swamp Thing gets canceled after one episode,
Exactly.
and
Their movie catalog is kind of
not
weak.
just that, they still
very
have
weak.
deals with other people.
Right.
So I was like, the Nolan movies are released in 4K.
I do like the aspect where it's got like a digital library of comic books that you can like
That's
go through
cool.
and stuff.
I do like
That is cool.
And it
I
combines
may
that with
just,
films
I may
and
just
stuff.
keep it just for that.
But I think you can pay for that for like $2 a month. I could be wrong. I
Wow, you
mine
just-
physical, but
Wow.
Let
if,
us
if
know
that
in the
is true,
comments.
then wow.
I know the Marvel one. I know the Marvel one goes.
Gotcha!
I know the Marvel one has
Shazam.
gone on sale for $1 multiple times. Like,
Oh, wow.
For like their whole collection. But
I'm gonna take my
I
hat off.
digress. I go.
Yeah, what
Just
are you,
kidding.
What are you
And I'm
doing?
thinking, okay, well the Nolan movies are released in 4K.
Gotcha.
So let's see if they have any 4K remasters on here,
Right.
or not rescans. I don't know
Right.
what to call it. And so I type in Batman Begins,
And then literally a little
Nothing.
message came up that says no 4Ks here.
and then I type in The Dark Knight, no Dark Knight or Dark Knight Rises. They still have the streaming deal with Netflix, so they can't even stream that on their own service right now.
No.
So I think it's too early for anyone to jump on, in my opinion. These shows are getting canceled left and right. The ones that aren't, the quality's questionable. And then everything that you want, the complete collection. It's not even the complete collection yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say we let these other streaming deals run their course before you consider jumping into the DC universe.
Yeah. I watched the first first 10 minutes of Swamp Thing, and
And he wasn't feeling it.
I was not impressed.
I gotta say, so I haven't.
At all.
I don't go off other people's reviews, but I had a bunch of friends on my Facebook who watched the first episode of Swamp Thing, and they were like, "Holy cow, yes!"
I need to get further into it,
So
maybe.
I'll have to give it a watch. I mean, I like the first trailer they released for it because it had this really like grindhousey, 80s kind of throwback vibe to it, which I was like, wow, this is cool. I've never seen anything like that and for, like a comic book type thing. But like, then the new trailer dropped, like the launch trailer, and that had a
That one
completely
was-
different tone and look to it. And I'm like, wow, that does not look like what I saw in the first trailer. So immediately I did want to watch it. But I will, check it out and see what it's all about
yes,
in time.
and I think that's up with the streaming service, but let's stay on the subject of DC for a little bit and segue back to Batman.
Of course.
I like how people normally segue by like saying some smooth transition, and I'm just like, we're gonna segue by saying we're segueing.
I'm gonna pull you guys this direction.
But as you've probably heard, since Facebook's a thing,
It's been a few weeks.
Robert Pattinson is officially our Batman.
Yep.
And
So
there's been a lot of backlash about that too. A lot of people are like, "Oh no, why are we gonna get Robert Pattinson as Batman?
yeah,
That's terrible."
people just
And
ugh.
you know what? Like, he's a really talented individual. Like, I love his stuff. I mean, a lot of people, they haven't really seen some of his latest stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched Good Times, and that movie really changed my whole thought process of how Robert Pattinson is as an actor. I mean, I always thought he was a talented individual, but that just really showcases his range.
His performance in Harry Potter is pretty great. Like,
Yeah.
And that's
I
my
agree with
thing
that
too.
just saying,
is,
yeah.
you know, I haven't seen his recent stuff, so I can't judge based off of that. But I can't judge based off that. The last thing that I know of that he was in, like, was Twilight. How old is that? That's a decade old now?
Plus
Came out in
And-
07, so.
Yeah, that's 12 years ago. That's over a decade ago. And people are like, oh, Robert Pattinson, the Twilight guy? Like, you can't judge an actor
No, he-
for a role
in
they
my
did
eyes, he's now as
12 years ago.
Yeah.
That's just crazy.
Yeah,
I
he's-
do have to say,
Based off of
He's
a
definitely grown
young
and,
adult novel,
yeah,
a
Yeah.
romantic young adult novel.
where
Yeah.
vampires sparkle. Like,
Exactly,
how
and there's
seri- like,
wolves.
yeah,
Like, come
no,
on, man.
He has
Like,
serious range.
how much acting?
Now, anytime I hear the name Robert Pattinson, I think of Good Times.
I do
And-
have to say though, I did see a joke on Twitter. It said that Robert Pattinson is the worst vampire ever because it took him 12 years to turn into a bat.
Ooh,
That's
like
great.
that.
That's a good one.
I thought that was
That's a good one. Maybe that'll be on the back of his Blu-ray cover.
Oh, wow! Podcast shut down.
Did you guys watch the College Humor Batman skits? They
Yeah.
have like so many of them.
Yeah.
The one where I think it's one with Superman, and he says like how his parents are dead or whatever, and he's like, yours are too, and he's like, don't bring it up. I was a boy, and now I'm a bat.
I did
That's
not.
kind of
not see-
Robert Pattinson. What's happened to Robert Pattinson? He was a boy, and now
yeah,
he's a
true,
bat.
true.
Like,
And I've never seen
never
up
seen
until
that
Good
shit.
Times. Honestly, Robert Pattinson play like a
Something
really
in my eye.
despicable, terrible character, or you just can't. You're just like watching. You're just like, wow, how can someone go to that low and do something like that? And it's like, I think some of that he's gonna bring over to Batman.
Yeah.
And I think that would be an amazing change because we've seen some dark sides of Batman, you know, but if we can truly like tap into the dark side of Batman, I mean, I think it was Detective Comics issue 27, 1939, where Batman literally throws someone into a vat of acid. And he throws on like a little one-liner where he's like, he deserved to be in there. We haven't seen anything that literally just killing people. And
yeah,
stuff.
that Batman had a gun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But
So,
so,
like,
you said you would like to see, or you think, you know, like you would like to see it go dark. What do you think they're gonna do with this new Batman movie?
Martin and I were talking about that earlier when we were in the car, and basically, I know Matt Reeves has stated that he's building out basically the Rogues Gallery, right? Like he's going to introduce not a majority, but a few bad guys, and they're planning a trilogy. So Robert Pattinson's 32, so he's
Because
pretty
Christian Bale was 31 when
Right.
he did Batman Begins.
right. So he's pretty young, and I think what their plan is to have build out the universe. So we've had a ton of Batman movies that like don't really include specifically the Batman family, right? So like Oracle and Robin and Nightwing. Like I really think that's where they're gonna go. They're gonna be like, we're building his Rogues Gallery, we're building his Bat family, and that's the push that they're gonna make. I think it's rumored that it's gonna be in the 90s, so I don't know if it's gonna be connected to the Joker or not.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea. Possibly. But there's also, but I think,
But they showed a screen grab of Robert Pattinson in Good Times too.
Right.
So they might actually be in fact going with that really dark anti-hero vibe of Batman. You know, they might be tapping into that aspect of his character that we haven't seen in that many Batman films.
Mm-hmm. One thing that we were talking about and people I guess might disagree with me, but there's a little bit of character growth, and I know we talked about character growth a little bit before we started the podcast earlier in the day, but it's like we haven't really been able to sit with Batman. Like, we've had Bruce Wayne, but I would like to see Batman grow throughout a trilogy. You know what I'm saying? I want to see his arc over a trilogy. We did get that in the Nolan verse. We definitely did, but I feel like
Capped off.
It wasn't
Dark Knight.
fully. I don't know. I'm not a fan of it.
almost
I'm not a
got
fan of that
that.
ending. I'm really not. I'm not a fan of the Dark Knight Rises.
With the Snyderverse too. Like, he was starting Batman as a killer, and then by the end of it, Superman made him realize that he can't. You know what I mean? Like, and that's not Batman. Well, it's not the normal Batman, but it's still Batman. And you know, I'm a huge Batman fan.
I think we all are.
As far as my favorite superheroes go, it's Spider-Man, and then Supes and Bats constantly flip flop for second. It's just so hard. They have such good material.
I throw Daredevil in there. I'm a big Daredevil guy.
Punisher fan. Was not a fan of season 2 of Punisher though. I don't know what happened.
We'll have a whole discussion on that.
We're gonna have a breakdown on that. We cannot.
We can definitely have a podcast.
But season 1, masterpiece.
But in the comics, Batman, he's such a complex character, and that's one of the things I love about him, because he's always brooding. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yet he brings a complexity to it. He's friends. Everyone talks about who just watched the cartoons. Superman and Batman are best friends. It's no, Superman or Batman and Barry Allen, the Flash, are best friends.
Which again, Robert Pattinson is great at that. He did it in Twilight. He was directed to look like a goofball, but he still pulled it off. For what he was given, I think he did a pretty good job. Same thing with A Good Time.
Yeah.
He plays a disturbed man very, very, very well.
Yes, he does.
And that's what Batman is. That's what Bruce Wayne is. So.
And I would love to see a Batman. Honestly, I think as far as overall giant arcs go, the current DC Rebirth arc is just doing Batman amazingly. And for those of you who kind of follow the comics, DC rebooted in 2011 to the New 52, and then they did another reboot. None of them were actual reboots though, because
was that 15
story wise?
Was it 15 that they did Rebirth?
Rebirth was 50. Holy crap! Yeah, I think it was 15.
I don't know. That was just a guess, but yeah, no.
No, yeah, I think it was before I was dating Anna. So
time flies, basically, is what.
But
that's what we just come to the realization.
So most people didn't really like New 52 that much, which is why they rebooted it so quickly. Batman from New 52 is the same Batman in Rebirth, because that's how much. You okay there, bud?
Yeah, I'm fine. Keep talking, bro.
Oh, you're grabbing mints. But Batman in New 52 is the same Batman in Rebirth, because he's just written so amazingly. They're we're not going to change him.
Really annoying.
Jeez. So I would just love to see the moments where he's waiting for Barry Allen to show up, and he thinks the Flash just showed up, and all of a sudden he's getting the snot beat out of him by Professor Zoom, and then Zoom grabs the letter that Batman's most prized possession, written to him by his father in another dimension, that Barry gave to him.
Are you spoiling the comic?
I mean, a 3-year-old comic, yeah.
Okay.
Or 4-year-old comic, yeah.
Right.
And just shreds it to pieces.
Spoilers.
It's not a spoiler if it's over a year old.
There might be kids who've never read this comic.
Well,
okay.
Darth Vader's also Luke's father, guys.
Oh!
But
what are you doing, man?
Gotcha!
But yeah, I would just love to see that side of Batman.
Kylo Ren is Rey's brother.
Spoilers, man.
Spoilers.
Jeez.
I have people on the inside.
Cut it out.
But
just kidding. I don't have people on the inside. I wish.
But yeah, that complicated Batman is what I would love to see in this new movie. And we think, we're going into real spoiler territory. At least I think this Batman, if it's set in the 90s, I think the only reason to do that is to have him be the kid in the Joker movie in the trailer, because the Joker is his brother, is Thomas Wayne Jr. He might have a different name in this movie.
But it's said that Joaquin's only signed on for one film, but that can change.
Yeah, but it can still be the same universe. You know, even if the Joker dies in this. And
so do you think he'll inspire another Joker for Robert Pattinson's time, or
I
what?
have no clue. But,
I think that might be the route they go.
But I think it's the same universe, and I think the kid in the trailer is Bruce Wayne.
Oh, definitely.
And
who else would it be?
And I think that's a young Robert Pattinson. That's
one thing. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
You're fine.
I'm just saying one thing. You know, you bring up the Bruce Wayne's back. The kid is Bruce Wayne, and people may disagree, but the whole point of making a trailer is to sell you on to see the movie. It's a piece of marketing material. They wouldn't put that shot in the trailer. It's time and frames and space and trailers and everything like that. It's all real estate. You're buying advertising spots, basically, right?
Yeah.
So like, they're throwing that in there not to be like, hey, look at him be silly with some random kid that looks really, really, really rich. I mean, he could have done that to some kid on the street, but he did it to a kid who is like behind a private fence, who has like a nice jacket on, a nice coat. That's Bruce Wayne. I don't know, but
and I love that.
They're not putting that in the trailer for no reason.
I've been saying for like 10 years that, and I know this theory's like gained some traction. I've been saying since the 1960s, they have been planting the seeds that the Joker is Thomas Wayne Jr. Since the 1960s, look at the original comic where the Red Hood appears in Maine Manor. Maine Manor?
Big Waynes.
where the Red Hood appears in Wayne Manor. It's the whole, there's like the whole Red Hood gang, I believe. It's been a hot minute since I read that. It's been a hot minute. But he stops, and we know this is the Joker, even though we don't know his identity. And he just shoots up the picture of Thomas and Martha Wayne, and he's just like furious with them for some reason. And there have been little moments like that. The first comic that they introduced the idea of the Waynes having another secret child was, I think it was a crossover with Superman. I think it was like, I'm not gonna just make up a comic number.
I dropped my hat.
That's okay, but you can grab it.
Oh.
But it was a crossover with Superman, and that was in like 1968. Like, for years they've been talking about the Waynes having another kid. For years they've been talking about the Red Hood, for some reason, being upset with the Waynes and having a vendetta. And for years, more recent years, they've started talking about the other child of the Waynes being crazy and insane. And yeah, especially too. There's a comic with the Court of Owls where a guy pretends to be Tom. This is the last.
There's another comic.
There's a comic.
Guess what? There's like thousands of comics.
There's a comic with the Court of Owls where this guy says he's Thomas Wayne Jr. He says, "Bruce, I'm your older brother.
I'm your father."
And he's not actually Bruce's older brother. But they shout Bruce's name right in front of the Joker, and he doesn't even react. And then, like, we find out, like, it's heavily hinted at that the Joker is the one who gave the information to this guy to be Thomas Wayne Jr., to, like, pretend to get in Bruce's head. And that plot plays out in, like, 2 separate comic series. So, the fact that there's a movie now that potentially is going to make him Batman's brother, half-brother, that's like mind-blowing to me. Because I've been waiting. You know, you even look at Heath Ledger, when the only time his Joker ever breaks character is because he has his made-up backstories, is when he's holding all the rich people up in the mansion, and then he sees that one guy and he says, "You remind me of my father. I hated my father." Like, he broke his character for a second. He was like, that was genuine. You know what I mean? So, I'm just excited to see how this plays out. Even if the movie's wacky, weird, and not good, I think I'm going to love it no matter what.
I mean, we've got wacky, weird Batman before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
And
definitely.
I don't hate it, but that's
But I was a
obviously
kid.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it came out when we were kids.
But I did
so.
try to give some of the older ones a rewatch again. I mean, after Batman Returns, and although Forever holds up, a little bit more than the last one.
Robin.
Yeah. But that
I
one.
always forget that even
Yeah.
exists.
But Batman and Robin was just a bad movie. Like, I just cannot watch that one. And I love Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm a huge Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan. I love Arnold. But he does not save that movie. It's still bad.
I just love when he kisses Poison Ivy and then he takes the rubber lips off, and I'm like, so that stopped all that tongue from poisoning you with these rubber lips.
I love
The first time I saw Mr. Freeze, I was like, "Oh, Arnold Schwarzenegger!" Still my favorite childhood movie icon of all time.
Cool.
And I'm like, "Oh, he's Mr. Freeze," And then he's just like, "What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age." And he's like, I was like, "All right, this movie's bad." Even as a kid, I was like, "Ugh."
And,
like
and the
that
fact
ending,
that
though.
Batman falls from space and they ride on the surfboards and stuff.
Yeah, wow.
Like,
that movie
and then they survive, and it's like, wait a minute.
That movie was wacky, but I do like when he walks in the prison cell and he's like, "I make your life a living hell," and the movie just ends.
Yeah, I remember that.
But yeah, man.
But yeah, this is don't worry. We're not jumping off all these tangents. Batman was our biggest focus because there was the Bluray, there was the Joker news, and there was the Pattinson news.
Right.
So this is mainly a Batman podcast. This isn't just us being like, oh, and this, oh, and that. There's a little in this and a little in that, but it's on topic.
Right.
But even so, I mean, those Batman movies, each one of those is so special. I mean, they all have completely different tones, different art styles, right?
Definitely very
Right?
special. No, I think one thing you have to like.
Even the original Batman, the Batman '89, and then we go to Batman Returns, still done by Tim Burton, right? But Returns is even more like gothy and stuff as opposed to the first one. The first one's a little dark, It's got that.
Yeah, Main Wanner is very.
You said it too.
I know, I did it on purpose.
Oh.
But like the second one was just like that's like Tim Burton going like full Tim Burton.
Yeah, for sure.
And that was just an amazing Batman movie.
I think one thing you have to, because we're both filmmakers, so I really look at it from that perspective and love each and every one of them. I love almost every movie I see, with quotes.
Yeah, me too.
But I have a deep respect for people who make these things because it's not easy to make them. You can hate them as much as you want, but if you really know how things are made, it's hard to get stuff made.
Yeah.
And the production design on every single Batman film ever made is incredible. All the production designers knocked it out of the park. Like, seriously, and Zach's like...
And honestly,
Zach's
I can't...
biting his tongue.
And honestly, I can't...
I don't want to argue.
And honestly, I can't think of any superhero movie, right now at least, that's as colorful as Batman Forever is. That movie is super colorful.
Doctor Strange? Maybe?
I mean, are you serious about that? Because I have one in mind that,
Ant-Man, Doctor
spit
Strange.
it out.
Into the Spider-Verse, I feel like is way more color.
That's
think you meant,
animated, so
live
I'm gonna
action.
keep that one.
You said superhero movie.
Okay, you're right.
I'm just telling you.
I'm gonna keep that one out because it's more in the animated category.
Okay.
Live action, I think the most colorful one is still Batman Forever.
So I just want to point out, you're like, I love most movies because like they're hard to make and you got to respect it. One movie I think we can agree that we don't respect is Fantastic Four reboot.
Fan Four Stick.
So
that was a...
So X-Men Dark Phoenix just came out, and one of the reviews I saw said marginally better than the Fantastic Four reboot.
Oof.
So
wow,
yes,
Oof. Yeah,
you still didn't make it the whole way.
I did not.
Through
Honestly, I can't talk too much about how I did not like it because I didn't watch it all the way through.
You saw enough,
but I think I saw enough to know that this movie is not redeemable.
You saw like right to when they got their powers,
and I'm just like, wow,
which took forever.
we had to pause it like every
forever
5
in that
seconds.
movie.
Because we
took
were just,
forever
like,
in that movie.
Yeah, the tone was all over the place in that movie. It was kind of like goofy, and it's like, was that purposely made that way? Because that just doesn't make any sense.
You listen
and then
to
there's
music. Is that your thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many like cringy,
we're gonna film a scene where
cringy
they
dialogue in that movie.
In a library. Oh, you listen to music. Is that your thing? Everybody listens to music.
And then she's just like...
Who doesn't listen to music?
Goes into this stupid...
And then Doctor Doom at the end, where he's just like exploding heads in the hallway and stuff. Like I was like, oh, that doesn't even feel like it's part of this movie, or should be. But all right.
Yeah.
We could go on.
So I just had to say, Dark Phoenix again. Haven't seen it myself, but I saw a review that said marginally better than Fan Force Stick.
Ugh.
So I'm like excited to watch it now because this might be like as good of an experience as Venom.
Definitely
So-
gonna be. I hope so. Right? That'd be awesome.
That'd be awesome. We got to go see it together like this weekend or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Well, see, even all the actors that play Batman too.
The main Wanner.
Yes, the Wayne Wanner. So, anyways, like all the actors that play Batman too, they bring something like truly unique to Batman too in general too, and they're not bad. They're all good. Even George Clooney, which most people are like, wow, he's the worst Batman. I don't think he's the worst Batman. I think he's like kind of represents the more like cheeky. He's like the Roger Moore version of Batman.
I say he's the Batman in the worst movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I can agree with that. Yeah. But even so, he kind of, to me, he represents more like the Roger Moore.
Got to separate the Batman from the movie, guys.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And
Judge the Batman on its
and for
on the Batman,
and for whatever
right?
reason, nobody mentions Val Kilmer, and I think he played a pretty good Batman. I think he definitely played a good.
I thought he was a great Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got that subtlety to him.
I think out of the old ones, I think he beats out Michael Keaton. And
He's got that Michael Chekhov
I think
acting
here's
method to
here's
him.
the
I
thing.
really
does
like.
he beat out Michael Keaton?
You know
Yeah,
what?
I
This
think
is
he
going to be
does.
controversial that we're talking about this, and I think that we.
I don't think you can
we have the viewpoint.
beat Michael Keaton just because Michael Keaton just came first, so automatically.
Right. I think there's a nostalgic.
precedent.
There's a nostalgic. I know my aunt and uncle are going to cringe because we had a discussion about this at dinner, and they almost kicked me out of the house. But
Wow.
yeah, they were like, we don't think, or we don't. Yeah, they
Spit your food out.
They
Go
love
to your room.
they love Keaton, but
I love Keaton, but
Yeah,
they were all
he's-
Keaton. But and Keaton was cool. But I think here's what
Keaton
I
was
think.
like playing himself.
I think
Keaton is
here's the thing.
he's Batman.
I think the script for Batman in 1989 isn't very strong. It's very basic. It's very like Jack Nicholson holds up that movie. Let's be real. The script is not very strong. The story isn't like next level. You know what I'm saying? They were just trying to make a comic book movie, and basically Jack Nicholson held that up. Totally understand that. And I feel like the costume department kind of failed Michael Keaton in that sense.
it was too big.
Yeah. I feel like Michael Keaton's awesome.
Yeah, look at the box art. You can see like there's like a solid inch.
Bring
between
that a little
his
closer
cheek.
to the
Yeah,
camera.
what?
You can see it.
Yeah, what is going on? Can you see that?
There's a solid
Look at that.
inch between his cheek and the costume.
And they used that one for the
And
cover.
that's
of
the one
new
they chose to
like,
use.
what are you doing?
And so that's what I mean by like I think he was great as Bruce Wayne. I think he was great as Batman, but I think and Tim Burton's direction's great too. I just think the script and obviously the costume.
Yeah.
And I mean wearing that
I mean,
that's gotta be so
yeah, that's got to
hot.
be
That's
so
what you
uncomfortable.
you
Old school
just
muscle
did,
suits.
What you just did too, you turned your head and looked. You can't do that in that suit.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like people do it making fun of it, but also like that's 10 times harder to act
Mm-hmm.
when like something happens over there. Like there's an explosion. Normally it's like
Well,
you know what I mean?
throughout the
But now you have to be like-
the entire
Well, there's a
Still
shot. There's a
make it
shot that I
convincing.
completely forgot that Tyler even brought to my attention after rewatching it again in 4K, where Batman goes into a church and he's like fully wounded,
Yeah.
and he kind of like
That's
leans over,
the best
falls,
part of the movie.
and knocks a bunch of pews over in the church, which happen to be like a quarter inch next to each other, which doesn't make any sense. I'm like, why are the pews so close? And it's just like, and then he gets up, and just the way he gets up, where he's like, and like he doesn't move his head. I'm like, wow, that looks just really goofy.
it looks really weird.
But
And-
you have to
and
give
that
it
was-
to him though, because that's all you could do in a suit
And that was
like
throughout the entire 90s. Like, all the Batmans weren't able to turn their heads until
Yeah.
Christian Bale in The Dark Knight. Like, he wasn't even able to turn his head in Batman Begins. So, they
that's
took him a
great.
while
Could
to
you
figure that
imagine
out.
if James Bond couldn't like
Turn
he
his
had a
head.
restricting suit on and he couldn't like move his head? And he's like, the name is Bond. James Bond.
I think even Darth Vader can turn his
I
head.
would love to see.
Yeah, I think so. I think you need a little
Can
more
Darth Vader turn
mobility.
his head?
Vader can turn his head.
Even Darth Vader can turn his head.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, even Darth Vader can turn his head. That's going on.
And it's-
shirt.
Didn't Alfred? Isn't it comic?
No, he could.
Alfred
Alfred
can
always
turn
turn
his
his head.
Well,
yeah.
Alfred designed the Batsuit, right? In comic book lore, isn't he the one that?
In
help-
old
or did he-
in old comic book lore,
Right, which
yes.
is what
those
what
movies were-
89 was based
Yes.
off of. So it's Alfred's fault.
Dang it, Alfred.
He's pretty old, man. Leave him
He's-
alone.
yeah,
Yeah, he was really old.
Jeez, he was losing at that point. So. But yeah, no, those movies will always hold a special place to me.
Of course. I'm curious, for the younger audience, if you're out there, let us know what you think of these movies. You probably think we're goofballs,
Like,
but
what?
we should do leading up to Pattinson's Batman, a Batman ranking, where not just do we rank the movies, but we also rank the Batman.
cool.
Yes.
I'm down for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And,
So I think that
for
would be cool.
some odd reason, maybe because Batman has so many actors play the role of Batman, where I just keep kind of comparing it to 007. But to me, Michael Keaton is and always will be Batman.
And he said it at a graduation speech a few months
and
ago.
he did, yes. And he represents, to me, one of my favorite Bonds in 007, which I think a lot of people would agree with, Sean Connery. He is.
How cool would it be?
If they released a Blu-ray collection of all the 007.
Or Sean Connery played Batman back in the day.
No, how cool! This just came to my attention. The whole him mentioning it at the graduation thing.
He's gonna make a cameo.
No, how about so the Joker is what DC has said is that it's its own movie, it's its own standalone thing. It doesn't connect to anything else. Same thing with Pattinson's Batman. It's in its own world. It's in its own Batman world. Mm-hmm. What if they bring Michael Keaton back and they do a Batman Beyond film that's a completely different universe?
Ooh.
That would be cool.
And they
Batman
bring him
Beyond,
on as old Batman.
That would
Batman
be
Beyond
insane.
Does take place in an alternate version of the 1800s, but it's a futuristic 1800s. So they could easily adapt that and just make it,
from the 89 version.
Yes.
That would be awesome. That would be.
If DC doesn't have that in their cards, I think they're losing. You got to develop
DC,
that, man.
Especially too,
You got to have that
Michael Keaton
in
is
your
just
development.
So good.
You got to have that in
Yeah.
the background being developed.
Oh, speaking of things being developed, since we've talked so much about Batman, we might as well talk on these other subjects a little bit before we close out for the day.
Mm-hmm.
But the original X-Men animated series team,
Oh yeah,
Disney owns Fox now, guys. That's been a thing for a while, but all the dice haven't been thrown. All the cards haven't played out.
Yeah, they've been cheating. They've been holding back on some of the cards.
I can't think of these terms.
I don't even know what term you're thinking of.
I don't know.
He's cheating.
But
Count cards.
some like the cards will fall where they lie. I don't know. But either way,
Where they may.
there's still cards
Yeah.
on the, oh, there's still
There's no
cards
line.
on the there's still cards on the table. That's what I was gonna say.
Wow.
So I didn't go to sleep last night because I was making this awesome pop culture cave podcast background and learning how to work OBS.
Yes.
So all
Thank
that
you.
happened last night. So that's why I'm a little tired.
He's gonna
But-
fall asleep on the podcast.
Wow.
They went, no, but that yawn made me have to yawn for real. They went to, that team
Do it. It's okay.
went to Disney and are like, hey guys, can we continue the X-Men animated series?
Mm-hmm.
So that's crazy.
Yep. They said that they would like to do it, but nothing is official yet. So that would be crazy.
Yeah, I mean, the animated series of X-Men was definitely one of my
Definitely
childhood.
the best. Definitely the best representation of X-Men.
Oh my God! Yes. Yes. Yep.
Okay, sorry, did too Wayne's World on it.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah, I loved X-Men. The
It
cartoon.
was awesome.
What's next, man?
Well, let's talk a little bit about E3.
E3. Okay, so the first presentation, I think, was EA. It was somebody. Somebody had their presentation today.
EA Play. 12 at 12 o'clock today.
Yeah. So I didn't watch that because I was too busy making this stuff. And
I was like, I did not watch that.
So I didn't watch that because I was too busy making the Patreon thing or the podcast thing. But then on top of that, I had to watch the Nintendo competitions and support Abdallah.
Mm-hmm.
But when I went on Twitter, which would have been after the EA Play thing has already happened, when I went on Twitter to post about the Mario Maker Invitational, I saw my trending, and other than EA Play actually trending, there was no specific games trending.
Oh,
So I
geez.
don't think it was.
The Star Wars one wasn't trending?
I didn't see it, but
That's too
I mean,
bad.
I wasn't paying too much attention.
Because there is a
Bummer.
good studio behind that.
Bummer Town.
Respawn.
Yeah.
So
So
Bummer City.
I'm curious about that. I did not watch it either.
I know
So
EA was supposed to talk about it, so maybe it just hadn't started trending yet because they just announced it. I don't know how this time frame lined up. It was before 2:00. It was like 1:50.
oh jeez.
So.
Mm.
But
Jeez.
yeah, so EA, I'm excited to see the Star Wars from them. We're very, very, very excited for Square because Avengers and the Final Fantasy VII remake, but specifically Avengers, like, they've only shown us small clips of, like, a destroyed Iron Man arm with the light dimming out, and then Thor's hammer on the ground starting to light up, and Cap's shield on the ground. And we know it's going to be,
Saw like blood on it, too.
yeah. There's something on it.
I'm just kidding. I don't think it's blood.
I was like, I don't know if it's blood, but it's something.
That would be pretty insane, though, if it was blood on it. Jeez.
Well, with Square, I wouldn't put it past them.
No.
But they accidentally leaked, like, what the Avengers game was about-ish.
What are you doing?
Nothing, we're fine. We're all good. Keep going.
They gave the basic bio online, which wasn't supposed to come out until after the presentation. We know that because all the bio was gone, except for the, like, so-and-so was presenting about Marvel's event. You sure we're good?
What are you doing?
You sure we're good?
Fine, I was getting a drink.
It looked like you were, like, siphoning gas out of a tank
like
or something.
Old school Mickey Mouse on his shirt is, like, rubbing off on him, making him chaotic. So to start whistling and driving a steamboat.
That's enough of that conversation.
But we know the Avengers is going to be one player, and we know you should be able to switch, like, seamlessly into a 4-player co-op from your 1-player mode.
Which you can activate by just going like this.
I don't know about that. That's not verified. That would be cool.
Yeah. Well, they should.
I don't know. Who knows?
Anyways, the Microsoft booth is going on Sunday, June 9th at 4 p.m. Which
most games ever.
You're more of a Microsoft guy than I am, so you might know a little bit more about the releases that's going on.
Martin's definitely more of a PlayStation guy.
Last year, that was Stitch. But last year, Microsoft's conference was basically, hey guys, we don't have too much to announce besides Forza, but we bought 5 studios to make first-party games for us, so be excited about that. And now they're saying they're going to have 18? 14? Something teen. I think it was 18.
18 plus tax.
18 plus tax, unless it's 14, in which case it's minus change. But they're going to have 14 to 18 first-party titles, or some of them might be second-party, but they're still Xbox exclusives at launch, which is the biggest number that they've ever had for stuff they want to show off. My guess would be we're going to see stuff about another Cuphead.
Halo.
But then more importantly, I think we're going to hear about Google has their Stadia, I don't know how it's pronounced.
Stevia.
But, your artificial sweetener. But Microsoft has their own streaming service that they've been talking about for a while. And by streaming service, I'm talking about streaming games, because this is E3. Come on, guys. But Microsoft has their own streaming service they've been talking about for a while. Now that Google's actually got the pre-orders out for Stadia, I feel like Microsoft's going to be like, all right, here's ours. They've already been doing the Play Anywhere. You know, you download a game from the Windows Store. You can play it on your Xbox or your computer if it's a Windows computer. They've pushed cross-compatibility like nobody's business, and they got Sony to actually, like, agree to do cross-compatibility on tons of stuff. So that's exciting. And maybe we'll see something about Banjo-Kazooie, which hopefully would be him being in Smash. I'm excited about that prospect. But speaking of Spash, I can't talk today.
It doesn't surprise me today.
Speaking of Smash, Nintendo has their conference, which supposedly some details leaked. It's mainly going to focus on Luigi's Mansion 3. Sup, bro?
Standing up, bro.
Speaking of Smash, though, they should remake Smash TV, because that game was phenomenal. Continue.
I don't know what that game is, but that's okay.
Old arcade game from Midway. It's great. It's a great game.
Interesting.
I think the biggest thing to keep a lookout for, like the dark horse of E3, would be Netflix. Because we know Netflix has some sort of announcement at E3, maybe a Coliseum event instead of an actual E3 presentation. So that can either mean two things. One, Netflix properties being adapted into video games.
Oh, that'd be crazy.
Or I guess vice versa.
Altered Carbon.
Yeah, wow.
Or maybe Netflix making
Speaking of Altered
movies.
Carbon, though, I loved Altered Carbon, and you introduced me to that too, and I'm forever thankful for that because that show was awesome. You didn't get into that for some reason.
I've never actually sat down and watched an episode.
Well, you definitely should because it's definitely a masterful piece of art.
It is masterful.
For sure.
It's the coolest thing.
And it definitely, speaking of games though, inspired a lot of creative design in like Far Cry 5 too, because
Wait,
that
Altered
game,
Carbon did?
yeah, because that game's still going strong. The user map community has made Altered Carbon maps, and I stumbled upon those too, and it was fun.
I'm not a big gamer, so like I don't understand how we just jumped from
Another thing too, we're gonna add a segment
show I've
called
never seen to a
Tyler's
game I've never
Games.
played.
Altered Carbon.
A show I've never seen to a game I've never played.
I can't stop talking
But
about
yeah,
Altered
we
Carbon.
could get an Altered Carbon video game maybe. So I said 2 options. There's 3. One is either Netflix shows are being adapted into games.
Uh-huh.
2 is Netflix is going to announce a bunch of games they're adapting into shows.
Mm-hmm.
Or 3, which would be awesome. You know, they already successfully did Castlevania, which is like without a doubt the best video game
Yeah,
adaptation.
that show's great.
And then, well, I guess Detective Pikachu, but that's very loose. But number 3 would be that Netflix is going to announce, in addition to their own movie/TV/documentary/train noises to fall asleep to streaming service they currently have. Yeah, that's the thing. But
I don't know what's going on.
I don't either.
I read this thing about like the weirdest, like, you know, Netflix has other secret playlists that like you have to go on the browser to find.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
what's the deal with the
There's, like-
Thomas the Train mods that are like it's like taking over like every game now?
That's been a thing for a while. Thomas is just
But it's
weird.
still going strong.
Yeah.
It hasn't died.
I don't play games.
But-
anyways.
So instead of just streaming movies or TV shows or stuff to watch, they're going to launch a gaming division where you can stream games from them. So kind of like GameFly, except it's Netflix.
Huh?
His preview image.
Oh, I thought my camera was out
What?
or something.
It's his preview image. Look, see,
What does?
it's frozen.
It's not on here, so we're fine.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, I was like, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you know, technical difficulties, but they're actually technical smalticles because it's still working over here.
Heracles.
But Hercules was
Man, if you're
Hercules'
frozen,
original name.
Mm-hmm.
If you're frozen, we're just gonna end this podcast like super early. We're just gonna end it. I'm not.
But yeah, that's all really about E3 right now. I will not be attending this year, unfortunately. Last year was a blast, but I plan on being back next year. It's just when you switch careers and decide to.
I wanted to go
over,
too really badly,
difficult.
but I got a speeding ticket, so that killed everything. That's what cops do.
Yeah.
All right, and then Sunday is the Bethesda little booth that they got set up, and they're going to be talking
Bethesda.
up. Yeah.
I was
Totally.
thinking, the what?
Yeah,
I
I
thought
was
you were
like,
making
huh?
something up.
Yeah.
Sometimes
is that
Martin
your-
makes stuff up.
Yeah, just do
So-
that.
So
So,
you're-
anyways, no, Doom Eternal, which I'm
Yes.
super excited for. I'm a huge Doom fan. From the books all the way up to all the games, every release, the PlayStation release,
You guys should
the
see.
Genesis
I
release.
feel like
which
every
is
time
terrible.
you guys talk about a game, I should leave because like I feel like I don't contribute anything to this conversation, so I don't know.
Let me say, you guys should see the. I'll post a video sometime, but for the Doom gameplay trailer that they released, I sunk up all my
I was
Philips
so
Hue
bored.
lights.
Oh, yes. This was an
Yeah.
amazing experiment that Zach did.
Experiments.
And- yeah.
It was an amazing experiment.
Well,
an
it was a multiple
experiment and
experiments.
experience.
And it was an experience, too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Experimental.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it
was great.
the best thing
No,
ever.
we
The Dark Dragon.
We we synced everything up, and it was just amazing. No, talk about the
Every-
experience.
yeah,
just
every-
go into full detail, dude. Just whip it out
With whoa,
Well, I will just say
the Dark
it's-
Dragon.
and spit it out.
I will just say Philips Hue lights completely changed the movie. The not so much movies. Philips Hue lights completely changed the gaming and
No,
podcast-
you really felt like you were
This
there.
podcast is not sponsored by Philips Hue Light.
it's not, but it could be Philips. You hear me? Okay.
You're great, Philips.
Wait, wrong camera.
Go Phillips.
Yeah, go Philips. I heard you're about to drop some new bulbs. It'd be great if you dropped them on my doorstep.
Oh, careful, dude. Break them.
No, they're really durable because they're Philips Hue.
Dang, go Phil. Philip.
Anyways, so these lights are awesome because for cartoons,
Oh man.
you can use the hue
It makes
sync
your room
app.
into a cartoon too. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Basically,
It's pretty nuts.
You use the hue sync app, and they change to the same color that's on your monitor.
But for movies, really distracting. Didn't really get into it for the
Yeah,
movies.
Depends on the movie. It was a cartoon movie.
I think
Yes.
one solid color for a movie works much better.
Yes.
Yeah, because I was
Like when
ready
we
to.
watched Daredevil,
I mean, I don't have
all in
epilepsy,
red.
but I was
Right.
getting pretty close to developing it right there while experiencing that. A couple
Except
movies.
be warned, if you put red on, you're going to fall asleep. Because I fall asleep. Whenever there's red up here, I always...
I don't know how. Like
Fall
red's
asleep.
so like it's like right in your face. You know?
Not really. For me, it's calming.
Blue is kind of calming for me.
For bowls, it's
So-
just the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Well,
no,
Jeez.
blue
I don't
light
know.
keeps you up. But yeah, so I just want to say these lights, like with Doom, it was so dope because every gunshot, the one
The
they
muzzle
don't just-
flash.
they don't
Yeah.
just match the TV.
My back is not feeling well right now. But
It's okay, we're about to wrap up.
it's all good.
They
No, it's
don't-
fine. It's fine. It's fine.
They don't just match what's on the TV. They specifically match, like, depending on how far you put it or what area you put it, they match that portion of the screen.
And the intensity
yeah.
of the light too, based on what's happening.
So
So if he
every
walks
time
through a
he's
smoke screen
shooting-
while a muzzle flash goes off, that won't be as prominent because that muzzle flash
Yes.
in the game is slightly distorted by the smoke.
Yeah.
And every time and it's like zero latency. So every time he's
And
firing
you
the
you
gun,
probably can't see this,
it's
but
going-
Zach's got like 10 different like Philip Hue lights like all over the place. So it was an experience.
Well,
Like
they
an
can tell
experience.
from...
I mean, he's
Five.
got those two
in here.
plus tax.
But yeah, so I'm really excited to play Doom with the hue lights. Was what I was attempting to say.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm super excited for Doom. I'm also excited for Wolfenstein Youngblood too, which is gonna bridge the gap before we get Wolfenstein 3, which a lot of people are like, oh, you know, I'm not all into games that don't have multiplayer, you know, it's just a waste of time. But, you know, I think games have made a tremendous push, and it's shown within recent years that it's a huge powerhouse, and it's rivaling what movies can do now. Because now we have huge actors, you know.
I thought you
What?
were going to say, yeah, now we have Hugh Jackman.
Oh, actually, it's more than rivaling. Games of
Yeah, I mean, it's
Throwing
way surpassed. I mean, it has surpassed, you know.
the Spider-Man PS4 game had the biggest opening weekend of any Spider-Man movie or property.
Yeah, if people
ever.
have told me, what's your favorite Spider-Man movie? And I'm like, it's not a movie, it's a game. It's the new Spider-Man game for PS4.
For sure.
But we got any other subjects we want to hit? before we
I always
say
try to
goodbye?
incorporate Mortal Kombat into anything because Mortal Kombat is just amazing, and I love Mortal Kombat. Go Ed Boon. But the new release of Mortal Kombat 11, which if you took initiative and pre-ordered the premium edition, which I don't want to get into the politicalness of what editions people should pre-order and not. I'm a huge Mortal Kombat fan, so I pre-ordered the premium edition. So for those people that did, well, I'm sure you guys have already followed the stream and know that Shang Tsung has returned. And we're not talking about just any random Shang Tsung. We're talking about the Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa version of Shang Tsung, which, hopefully I said that right. He is Shang Tsung at this point because, I mean, not only did he play him in the movie, but he also played him in the game. So at that point, you have become Shang Tsung, the living incarnation of Shang Tsung.
The Dark Dragon.
Yes, fatality. So I am so excited, and I saw a couple review gameplay, but I haven't watched too much of it because I don't want to spoil everything. But I'm excited.
And one thing I will say about pre-ordering games, guys, because they're never going to run out, since you talk about pre-ordering games, if you don't want video games to keep getting worse, don't pre-order them way in advance. Pre-order them the second they're about to drop. Like, pre-order it the day
Move your
before.
hands.
I think my phone just died.
I'm back.
All right.
So my phone died.
Martin,
And-
move over a little bit.
No, it's fine. There's like
Cups back
just
here,
so you
so
ha-
I have to.
Just,
Okay.
just so you have some more light.
squat.
A little bit more light. You were in shadow.
So, I want to thank you guys so much for joining us today. Again, this is our weekly podcast. It was a Saturday today, but it's going to be a Friday next week.
And tomorrow's going to be Sunday.
And tomorrow is going to be Sunday.
Sunday.
Listen to the Friday song if you need to get a refresher. It doesn't talk about the weekdays, though, so you're kind of out of luck. Again, you can follow us on Patreon, which is right above. It's the very top of our lower third right there.
It's right
The little news scrolly thing. So check us
Oh,
out on
my hand's
Patreon.
behind the mic.
That's okay.
It's right there.
Right there. You can check us out on Patreon and support us and help us make more content. Because again, we wouldn't even be using these cameras right now if
Totally.
if you guys weren't helping us out.
Totally.
So, yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
I want to say a big thank you to Tyler and Martin for joining me on the channel and becoming part of this team and becoming a studio together.
Happy to be here. Let's create some stuff.
Always happy to create
Ooh,
stuff.
I like that thumbs up thing. Let's all do that. Thumbs up! Or I always say stay awesome when I close stuff out. Stay awesome.
Mortal
awesome.
Kombat.
And be sure to like and subscribe because that really helps with the algorithm and helps us get more views. Thanks so much, guys. We love you. Mwah.
Ma! Dark Dragon!
What is with the Dark Dragon?